Oh, do you do the admin? That's the classic line. I mean, you must just do the books. And that really frustrates me. It's like, actually, no. In a day, I will have touched every part of the business in some way.
I used to have this view of what leadership was, which was, it had to be someone quite extrovert and had to be someone that would talk and other people would listen, and someone who liked the limelight, and someone who really, and therefore I'm not like that. And I actually thought, therefore, I will never be a leader. That's not going to be for me. I'll be in the back office doing something analytical. Through taking on lots of different roles and really pushing myself out of my comfort zone, I've really realised that as long as you properly show up as yourself and you fight for what you believe in and you fight for your team, then I think you can be a really successful leader.
Hello and welcome to Women in the Driving Seat, where we take the time to shine a spotlight on the wonderful women of automotive. This week, we're going to be talking about a couple of British car brands with two great guests, Lynn Calder and Rebecca Denier. First, we have our guest bios. Lynn Calder was appointed CEO of INEOS Automotive in 2022, having spent most of her career in the petrochemicals and energy sectors. Lynn has worked with the INEOS Group for 5 years, with previous roles including CEO of INEOS Composites and Commercial Director of INEOS Phenol. Before joining the INEOS Group in 2017, Lynn worked as an investor for a specialist private equity fund in the energy sector for 8 years. Prior to this, she spent 8 years working in a variety of commercial roles for Talisman Energy, latterly as non-operated interest manager. In her spare time, Lynn is a keen sportswoman and enjoys participating in endurance running, triathlon, road cycling and adventure racing. Blimey, it puts my 5K at the weekend to shame. And Rebecca is co-founder of Sebring Works, where she and her husband hand-build brand new electric retro-inspired sports cars. Life off the track includes teens, a bouncy lab, I've got one of those, and enough hormones, hers included, to fuel a nation. She's always up for a laugh, a run around the hockey pitch, our second guest of today on that score, and a strong coffee. Great, welcome to you both. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks, Aaron.
Let's get started. Lynn, our usual question for all guests, what plates have you been spinning? What balls have you been dropping this week?
Oh gosh, so everything from, I travel all the time for work, and a night away completely forgot my moisturiser, which at my age is, a sackable offence, I think, to turning up at the FT Future of the Car conference and feeling like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, to having some lovely girlfriends come and stay with me last weekend where we drank far too much and my boiler broke, to a board meeting this morning. So it's been quite a week.
I love that mix. I mean, that's just perfect. Oh, your boiler broke. Ouch. Rebecca, what about you?
I don't know how many I've dropped yet. Ask me later. So far this week has been an eclectic mix of me passing out, also rushing off to take my mum to hospital to have an operation, juggling work, getting back to work, sort of midweek time, trying to juggle all that. Teens in the mix. Had a sleepover last night, unexpectedly. Of course, my daughter invited 3 friends back for the evening after a school trip, as you do midweek, and then here today. So it's all good.
I should have a little couch so people can have a little lie down while they're here.
I was having a rest here coming here today.
Not so good for podcasts. So Rebecca, tell us all about Sebring Works and the journey towards it. And it's a husband and wife effort?
Yes, it is a husband and wife effort.
I mean, that's me immediately.
We are still married to each other and still get on. So yes, we both ran service businesses before, really wanted to create a product. We both adore classic cars. We're really frustrated with the unreliability of our classic cars sitting in the garage, not being used, or if they were temperamental. And we wanted to solve that problem. So after getting a modern electric car, we started going down the journey of an electric car arena, and you start getting all into that. And then we decided, let's convert our own classic cars, and from that the business started as a conversion company, and then we've made a shift after that into brand new retro looking cars, so built from the ground up. So yes. And
what brand new ones do you offer now?
So we offer 3 models of our own, a Speedster and a Coupe of a very familiar looking 60s sports car, and also one that's very British called a Roadster. I can't name drop what they are from, but we also sell our platform as well. So we produced what we call now our Sebring Performance platform, which is essentially a skateboard chassis platform, which you can put any body on top, and we're selling that into sort of lower volume niche manufacturers to help them get to market quicker, and also into the film and production industry.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
So that's quite fun.
That is quite fun.
Yes, so we've just had 4 chassis into a film that Apple have been recording in Paris recently. So very keen to get more of our product into those areas.
And of the 3 cars that the 3 models, the 3 new models that you're selling, what's the price point for those?
Yes, so you're looking at sort of kind of 90 plus, really. So yes, under 100, but between 90 and 100 at the moment.
And have you got an order book?
We do have an order book, yes. So we have a good order book, and we also have a collaboration as well with Electric Classic Cars on their Thor brand. So we're producing a limited run of 25 Thor Rebels, which look familiar to a 1960s very familiar high-performance sports car. So it's exciting times.
It is. I mean, I love this, that, every episode of this podcast, we have full mass volume OEMs. We have, we've had Stellantis here at board level. We've got you here with your low volume, but, some might say more exciting products. And, it just takes all sorts. That's what I love about this industry. And then Lynn, we've got INEOS kind of right somewhere in the middle of all this. Tell us what's the state of play for INEOS at the moment. Remind us of what models you've got in market. Have you got more coming that you've announced or spoken about? What's your retail model? Give us an overview again.
Right, so state of play, INEOS Grenadier. We launched the Grenadier in 2022 into the market after about 5 years of designing and developing. 4x4, a pure blood 4x4, so the kind of car that we feel doesn't really exist anymore, a ladder frame, a really boxy design with kind of a wheel at each corner, so you can really go and do some very rugged off-road driving.
And lots of buttons and switches.
Lots of buttons and switches, like a kind of almost like a cockpit. But actually what it fundamentally is a more refined modern version of what used to be very off-road vehicles that have kind of become softer over time. So we wanted kind of to marry the on-road refinement, some modern comforts with this very, very rugged off-road vehicle. Brought it to market in 2022. We're now in 50 countries. Our biggest market is the US. And last year we launched our second vehicle, which is the Quartermaster, which is a double cab pickup truck. We've announced the Fusilier, which is an electric and range extender version of neither of them actually. It's a new vehicle. It's slightly smaller, slightly less rugged, but a family resemblance to the Grenadier. And we were planning to get that to market by 2027, but it's on pause at the moment. Just wrestling with some of the boring regulatory stuff that makes it quite difficult to bring, I think, electric and range extender vehicles to the market at the moment. Uncertainty for how long we're going to be able to sell the range extender for. It's been quite a couple of years.
Yeah, hasn't it just? You mentioned the US market. We have to just talk about tariffs. Although, every time I have a conversation about tariffs, the next week we're having a different conversation about a different set of tariffs. So let's talk about tariffs as they stand today, and how that's hit you.
So as I said, US is our biggest market, so it's definitely hit us really hard. More than 60% of our sales of Grenadiers are in the US. And obviously going from 2.5% import tariff to 27.5% import tariff has had a fairly major impact. However, we've worked with our retail partners to share some of that pain, and we've only passed on a 5% price increase to the customer, and it's still a heck of a lot of car for the money, I think, so that price point is still working really well in the US. And really my only frustration now is that there are trade deals happening all over the place at the moment, and we manufacture in France. There doesn't seem to be any action as between Europe and the US at the moment, and for a trading bloc that is so heavily driven by automotive, I don't really understand why that's the case.
Yeah, we were discussing, weren't we, the fact that when you've mentioned this and been I hate the word outspoken. You've been outspoken about it. You've just spoken about it. People kind of like, whoa, Lynn Calder got really outspoken or really punchy or really ballsy about it. And part of me thinks, well, if a bloke said any of that, would they be? I don't think blokes ever get called outspoken or punchy or ballsy. It seems to only apply to women that speak the truth or speak their minds. And B, not enough CEOs and C-suite execs, in my opinion, I think in your opinion too, tell it how it is in the industry.
Yeah, I don't think I really say anything controversial at all. I just say, I think maybe part of it is the company is private, so we have got the ability, the kind of the scope, the rope, maybe enough rope with which to hang myself that doesn't really need to impact our share price the next day. So I guess for public companies, they have to be a lot more guarded. Whereas whereas I've got the real luxury of being able to speak my mind, which is a great thing.
Well, I'm a journalist, so I'm in your camp 100%. And retail model, remind me, bricks and mortar, online, both?
So it's been both, but by late summer this year, it will be bricks and mortar. So I think like many people coming into the industry when we did, or, it was very in vogue, I'd say, to go direct to consumer. We have tried it in some markets and not in others. It doesn't work.
It's not working for anyone, is it?
It doesn't work at all. So we made the decision last year to just dispense with that, and we've been in negotiations with all of our agent partners since then. We entered the US bricks and mortar very traditionally from the word go, and that's where it has worked the best. I mean, look at Chinese brands coming and going straight into bricks and mortar as well, right? They didn't come in and go, oh, agency must do that. No, and I think for us, it's definitely a failed experiment. I think we were just kind of going with the tide in a way. We thought it was the way that the industry was going. We didn't know enough. Now we know enough, and it's just, it was kind of such folly in a way, to imagine that we would come into this industry brand new and know how to sell cars better than people who have been doing it for decades upon decades.
How many retailers have you got?
We've got 270.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to ask you how many retailers you've got, Rebecca, but I will ask you about your retail model. So how do people get hold of one of your cars or spec one up or commission one to be built?
Okay, so far we're only in marketing in the UK and the US, and we're currently and we're currently in phase 1 of our US presence. So
that's quite exciting.
Yes. So we are registered as a low volume vehicle manufacturer there, and so hopefully moving into phase 2 soon, which would be superb because that can ramp up then, and we know that's a large market for us. Europe, we will tackle as and when. There are other territories that we're actually looking at for phase sort of 3, 4, and 5. So that's also on the horizon. So that's quite exciting. But obviously, we're much smaller and it's quite different. Our offering's very different. But yes, it's exciting.
And if we look at what drove you to convert classics to electric in the first place, was it simply a question of these are beautiful classics and we want to future-proof them? Was there an element of thinking about actually there's better reliability if you can make them electric, or was it environmental concerns?
It became all three, to be fair. So we just loved classic vehicles and that look, and modern cars don't have that. And even there are very few sports cars available that are electric as well. And we just love that look and feel. But once we started going down the route of having a modern electric car, then you do start thinking about environmentally friendly. You realise that actually you don't need the smells and the fumes, and you want a reliable car. So that's why we went down that path. What we were finding was that running just conversions was tricky because the projects would be very difficult to manage because they were often a restoration project. So a customer would have a car that they would say was perfect, and of course as soon as you put it on the ramp and took a few pieces out, you realise you could put your finger through it and it'd be rusty and need huge amounts of restoration. And especially if you want to put a decent running gear in it, you've got to make sure it's ready. So we moved away from the conversions period because of that, and we just wanted to bring back, we actually owned a Sebring, which was Sebring International, who used to do the Austin Healey 3000 replicas, and we actually approached them because they were local to us, and then we acquired the assets from them and thought, let's bring that back, use all the knowledge we had from our conversions, and then bring that vehicle back as electric. But when you start going down an electric route, so if you're charging at home, suddenly you start thinking about your home charging solution, and all of this suddenly becomes really important to you. And we were really excited by our route with a modern EV, and we had obviously home charging. We're fortunate enough to have the ability to do that. And then we suddenly thought, well, if we can do bidirectional, so that's also something that we're trying to bring into our new vehicles as well.
Just explain to people listening bidirectional.
Sorry, yes. So bidirectional charging is where you've got a battery pack in your car. It's the most expensive part of the electric vehicle, and it's an energy storage. So why not use that energy storage as part of your home storage solution? So, one of our cars parked in someone's garage could charge their 4-bedroom house for a whole weekend. So that's what we were moving to. So we've got the capability to do that. It's not there yet, but retrospectively we'll roll that back, hopefully for customers. But moving forward, we want that to be an option. And people don't know what they don't know, so they don't understand how the car could be used for their home energy. It's only when you start going down this path you start to learn more and more, and it's up to us to really educate people. Yeah. I'm surprised that we've been in this arena a long time now. Electric vehicles have been around a long time, and sustainable energy solutions have been around a long time, yet we're still not educating people enough to understand it. So I feel that's part of our job as well, to educate.
How much, I suppose there's a question for both of you here about being a British brand, working for a British brand, leading a British brand. There's something extra special about that, isn't there?
100%. We're all British, and I think it's a country that's got such rich automotive heritage, which you're still really kind of playing in that space of that heritage, and that's really exciting. So there aren't that many brands now that have got heritage. I mean, we're very young, but we've got quite an interesting backstory, and it just makes it really fun to be out in the world talking about it.
Absolutely. I mean, British engineering has always historically been, world class, and I think we forget that, and we forget that British manufacturing is so vital. It's such a large part of the economy. We really need to back British. I'm a real advocate for that. Buying local and backing British is just so vital. We're an island. We could be completely self-sufficient. So let's support one another. It's really important.
Back British.
Yeah.
Lynn, what's INEOS like to work for then? Is it, what's the vibe at the company? How many does it employ? Are there many women?
So across all of the INEOS businesses, because there are many, it's quite a big sort of conglomerate, and there are about 26,000 people. The automotive division, we are now at about 2,500. We are in automotive at about 24% female, which is, not...
slightly above the industry average, actually. So
exactly what I was going to say. It's ahead of the average, but, shouldn't be the norm. And it's, INEOS has, I would say, quite a clear culture. It's not for everyone, but and by which I mean, there aren't layers and layers and layers of management. It's quite a shallow company for the size of company it is, for the amount of revenue it has. It's got a very low level of employees, actually, so it doesn't have layers of management, which means there's not really anywhere to hide. It's got very clear lines of accountability.
Do you have a very clear line of accountability straight to Jim Ratcliffe? Or?
Yeah. So
is he quite hands-on?
He is. I mean, automotive is his. He created this concept. He designed this car. He was the chief designer of this car. So absolutely, he is extremely interested and invested, not just literally, but personally in the outcome of this. So I think clear lines of accountability. It's highly entrepreneurial though. So you really do kind of just sort of get, given the keys to that, and you run with it, and then you catch up with the board, which is him and the other two owners of INEOS, normally once a month, and let them know what you're doing and how things are going. It's play hard, sort of work hard, play hard mentality. It's a real kind of no nonsense vibe. Everyone does kind of say it as they see it, which is great for me. So the vibe is great. It's a lot of fun.
Is it, and in terms of INEOS's voice at the table of kind of UK PLC, or even just within UK Automotive, feels to me like you've got quite, given your relative size in the industry, you've got quite a good voice. Do you feel like you're heard? Do you feel like you've got a seat at the table?
Yes and no. I think that we, in some respects, we punch a little bit above our weight, because you're right, we're really small and we're really new. And people are listening. I think although we're really new in automotive, we are not new to business. So, we've sort of built quite a big business, or Jim certainly, and the two owners of INEOS have built a really big business. The no is maybe that, we produce in France. So, Rebecca, you just said some amazing things about backing British. And look, we're a British company and everything, our employees and our profits and our taxes and everything go through the UK. But I think we often get well, you're not producing here. And look, part of the reason for that is that we weren't really highly welcomed. We wanted to produce in the UK. That's very well documented. We really wanted to produce in the UK. We are really British, but British, interests don't really include manufacturing right now. That's the kind of thing that we want to outsource. It's the kind of thing that brings emissions that we don't want. It also brings jobs and growth and economies and self-sufficiency.
But on the other hand, the entire automotive industry is right now talking about onshoring and localising again, isn't it? To try and ring fence itself geopolitically from any kind of further upheaval.
Yeah.
It's like we can't have it both ways.
No, absolutely. And I think we've kind of gone down a path of saying that's what we want. We don't want manufacturing, but now maybe that will change. But that's a big part of why we're not in the UK. It was because, they didn't really want us here.
Interesting. We're already halfway through and knew this one would fly, which means it's time for podcast pit stop. Just a little quick fire round of questions that you haven't seen. Rebecca, let's start with you. Here we go. Classic or vintage?
Classic.
Of course, what a stupid question. Jaguar E-Type or Porsche Speedster?
Actually, I'm going to say the E-Type.
Yeah, a classic, a true classic. Bicester Heritage or Bicester Village?
Oh, Vista Heritage, yes.
Startup founder or company CEO?
Startup founder, why not?
Smoothie or coffee?
Coffee.
Mountains or beach?
Both.
God, another sit on the fence. Now, that is not Lynn, so here we go. Thank you, Rebecca. Lynn, you're up. Range extender or plug-in hybrid?
Range extender.
Water, still or sparkling?
Still.
Yes. Conference panel or fireside chat?
Fireside chat.
England or Scotland?
Scotland.
Why? Convertible or coupe?
Convertible.
On-road or off-road?
Off-road. Although that's relatively new, I feel a little bit of a fraud because I also really love fast cars. So.
Do you know, I have an absolute fear of off-roading. I still can't conquer it. Everything about it feels counterintuitive, which it is, and just wrong, and like I'm going to die at any second.
Erin, we're going to take you off-roading and we're going to get
As
rid
I was
of that.
saying that. As I was saying
We're
that,
going to get rid of that.
That is not an invitation. I'm not digging around to go out and
No, but seriously, because I will show you a different side, because the Grenadier is super easy.
Okay. Great, that's that. Back into it we go. So, Rebecca, tell me about the personal challenges of running a small business, developing it, starting it, growing it, with children, hormones and elderly parents. Talk about the squeezed middle.
Yes, I mean, I wear a gazillion hats in any one moment, I think, let alone in one day. But I'm sure everybody's got a lot to do. I mean, it's just life, isn't it? And yes, this middle age period is challenging, I have to say, having children and then, yes, elderly parent as well. It is quite a worry, and we're so busy. We're such a small business. It made me smile when you said how many employees you had, and we're a fraction, an absolute fraction of that. And we wear so many hats ourselves at work, so then you've got your home life in the mix as well.
Do you ever just want to come home and cry?
I do cry sometimes. Yes, sometimes I'll sneak off and have a cry. I'll go and walk the dog under the guise.
I'm a big advocate of it. Do you know, that's the other thing, crying mustn't cry. Why not? It's just your body letting out tension.
Absolutely. And there are frustrations. I think we are such a small business and we've had so many challenges from the start. We haven't had large investment. We are very small, very bootstrapped. We've proved that we have a product. It works. We've got a customer base. There are still many challenges ahead, and then life has to fit in around that. And because we work together, so husband and wife team, we live and breathe the business. We live and breathe the family. So if something happens on one side, it affects the other, and it is double impact because it affects us both. So we have to kind of keep each other going, and there's days where one of us is having a tough time and the other one has to put on the brave face and keep pushing through. So it's just a lot, and I think everybody has a lot on their plate. But the hormones in the mix, with teenagers and my own, I think what is going on? It is something else. So yes, it's a challenge, but we'll get through it. And I'm excited. There's so many good things that happen as well in the day. So if you ask me at the end of the day what's happened, there's too much. You can't even share it. And it's sad too, because there's very little time. So I've lost time with family and friends, and I have hugely over the last few years particularly. And we've really just spent so much time working. You can tell by the bags under my eyes. But we'll get there, and I do hope that we can now start bringing our personal lives up to a little bit more than just being ourselves, because we spend so much time together.
Yeah, I bet you never have date night, do you?
Well, no, and we went for lunch the other day and we didn't actually talk about anything. We just sat there, and I literally just sat there because all we would talk about would be work, and we were quite, we had quite a lot on, so we literally just were quiet. But at least we can still sit quietly together and still get on, I guess.
Yeah. Lynn, do you find yourself, do you think, on more panels and keynote speaker opportunities because you're one of a few female auto bosses in Europe? I suppose what my question is, do you feel it works in your favour being a woman in the automotive industry and where you are in the automotive industry, or against you, or kind of like it hasn't even occurred to you?
Probably more the latter, to be honest. I don't get asked to go on that many panels, if I'm honest. So I don't think I am asked to do lots of things because
you're outspoken, Lynn, and we don't like that.
Yeah, maybe everyone's just terrified. Get asked to do even less now. So yeah, no, I don't really feel like that. I think that there's no doubt I feel probably more than I ever have before, and I've always worked energy, petrochemicals. It's not like they are heavily female-led industries either, so I haven't really ever known anything different. But in automotive, you definitely notice that you're different because everyone kind of points it out. And I don't think it's held me back. I think that I just do it the way I do it and hope that it works.
Yeah. I mean, I can't work out if it's worked. I think it works well for me now, being a woman in automotive media, but I think it worked against me for 10 years. So I feel like if it's working well for me now, I've still got another 5 years to go before I've balanced out the first half of it, whenever, as a 20, 30-year-old, just ignored.
Yeah.
Who do you admire? Actually, it's a question to both of you. Who do you admire in the automotive industry, brands or people?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, I've got a lot of people that I think, wow, you really stand out. There's a lot of women coming through now, which is really exciting. And
is there in your neck of the woods as well?
I see. I mean, maybe it's just because I follow them on social media and spend time chatting to them, but there are quite a few coming through now, and especially in the EV world, it feels like that is an easier transition. And there's a lot. I'm not going to mention anyone by name because I'd miss some out if I did that, and that would feel wrong. But definitely, we are moved. There is a shift. There definitely seems to be a shift with EVs. I mean, I still get asked the question, well, how long have you worked at Sebring Works? And what do you do here? So my line now is, well, I, like everyone else, make the tea.
Right.
And then there's a pause, and then they say, well, actually, I founded the company. Oh, did you? And then there's this kind of awkward silence. If they haven't met me before, we get lots of car clubs come and visit, and it is frustrating. I understand the frustration. But there's lots coming through. I mean, we've got lots of influences. Social media has helped hugely. I haven't been very active on my own personal branding at all, and now starting to. And that's how we're going to get more visibility and encouraging people through. Yeah. I think the youth of today are more sort of not worried about the gender of whatever work they go into. I don't think they're prohibited now. So my children, let's just do what you really feel inspired to do. And so I hope that that's now coming through. But it's going to take time, I think I'll still get asked the questions, what do you do? And, do you do the admin? That's the classic line, or you must just do the books. And that really frustrates me. It's like, actually, no. In a day, I will have touched every part of the business in some way. It could be making a decision about, it could be an HR thing, it could be a finance thing, but it could be a product design thing. It could be dealing with DVLA, DVSA, it could be all sorts of things. But that's because we all wear multiple hats, for sure. Yeah. But I'm not just a cup of tea maker or the admin person.
I love that that's what you're saying, though. I make the tea. Like everyone else, I love that. It's a good start.
What about you, Lynn? Any brands?
So maybe I'll go down the brand route rather than person then. I think there's this and the reason this resonates for me is we are brand new and we're trying to build a brand. It's not just building the car in some ways is the easier part. I think building the brand where nobody knows you and you're starting from a standing start is really hard. And if you don't want to spend literally hundreds and hundreds of millions on it, then you've got to punch above your weight. And one of my team actually, Annie, sent me a link to this brand just a couple of weeks ago, and they're called Slate Auto, and they've got
oh yes, I saw that.
They've got this modular pickup truck in the US, and they did this amazing piece of marketing, which is it's all about everything that you can use the car for, and selling it into small and medium enterprises. And they were interviewing this guy who runs a human taxidermy company. So it was very quirky and quite dark, but really noticeable, and that really resonated with me. I thought it was really cool.
Wow, that sounds like some sort of guerrilla marketing or some niche social media campaign. I just picked apart what you said there. Okay, any more mainstream OEMs? Any OEMs you look at and think like, yeah, you're doing well? Like, people always ask me, is anyone doing well in a truly gender neutral brand? And I always point towards Volvo and Mini. I say Mini because they went down that route from their very inception of being small city car with high levels of personalisation. So they kind of naturally gravitated towards female consumers. And Volvo, because it's baked into Scandinavian DNA that they're so much more gender neutral than us as a society. So again, I feel like they didn't proactively do anything brilliant, but it was there from the beginning.
Yeah, so I think for me then it would be, and maybe not just on the gender balance, but I'm sure it's there, probably Toyota. Oh. I think that I look at Toyota and I work with a lot of the same retailers as well. We've got sort of overlap on retailers, and they are so focused on the customer. They really do put the customer first, and they kind of don't just talk about it, they really kind of walk the walk. And I think that a lot of what's going on in the automotive industry right now is a little bit customer neutral. It's not really thinking about the ultimate reason why we're all here, which is to get people from A to B, or in our case, and probably your case as well, Rebecca, fun things, toys, really kind of fun things to do. But for a lot of car brands, it is just getting people from A to B, and it's really important that you think about the customer first. And I think they do that with their customer service. I see that with the retailer overlap and their standards. So that's where I'm aiming for with ours. Yeah. But also with their technology choice. They've kind of said from the beginning, there's going to require a mix of powertrain options for customers, and that's what we're going to provide rather than one.
Yeah. Great, fab. Okay, we're almost out of time. It's the last bit of the day is life lessons. So Rebecca, what life lesson can you give us?
Wow. Expect the unexpected.
Nice.
Everything is possible. It just might take a lot of work, but keep going.
I like the inherent optimism there. Good. You get a gold star.
Ever the optimist.
And Lynn, what about you?
What I'm going to say probably sounds a little bit like a really easy, almost vacuous leadership-y thing to say, but bear with me for a second, okay. Which is be unapologetically you. And I think when I first started out as a kid, I used to have this view of what leadership was, which was, it had to be someone quite extrovert and had to be someone that would talk and other people would listen, and someone who liked the limelight, and someone who really, and therefore I'm not like that. I'm quite reserved. I've got less so as I've got older, but as a kid I was extremely shy, extremely reserved, and I actually thought, therefore I will never be a leader. That's not going to be for me. I'll be in the back office doing something analytical. And over time, and through taking on lots of different roles and really pushing myself out of my comfort zone, I've really realised that as long as you properly show up as yourself and you fight for what you believe in and you fight for your team, then, I think you can be a really successful leader. And actually, whether you're introvert or extrovert doesn't matter. So that's my life lesson.
I like that. That's a strong note to finish on. Thank you both very much. It's been a joy.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.